Good evening, Kelly Dunlap here, wellness, beauty, and fat loss coach. I am here to talk about the keto diet. I know everybody sees this all over their Facebook newsfeed. Keto this, keto that, I lost so much weight on keto, keto. And I feel the need to inform what it is and why it works, and all the ins and outs, and also to give you some warning signs of it too. Not that it's a bad thing, but I think that there is some misconception with some things, and it's my job to inform. So we are going to talk about this, and welcome rebroadcasters. I know a lot of times people can't tune in during the times that I'm able to go live. So, anyway, so here we go. I have lots and lots of notes because this topic is extremely noteworthy, and you're going to feel like you might be in science class as well. Okay, so just bear with me on that stuff, but I will do my best to break it down in layman's terms as much as I possibly can. So, I'm going to be looking down a lot because I seriously have tons of notes and I didn't want to miss anything, okay? Super important. Here's the deal. The keto diet. Most people do it wrong, okay? And you might be thinking, well, I do it, I've been successful. But I'm hoping that I can give you a nugget or a pearl that can help you be more successful with this, okay? You will know a little bit later on why you're doing it wrong once I get into some of the details. And this is where that science class stuff comes in. Okay, also know it is not beneficial for everyone, okay? Just like I always tell you, just because Sally Sue lost 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 pounds doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. It's a trial and error, okay? Would I ever do keto? Have I ever done it? I've never done it. Will I? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. It just depends. Maybe I will after I have my baby. Maybe I might feel like I need to try that. I don't know. But to be honest with you, it's just one of the many protocols that I have in my back pocket. But I do know that I can try it, and we'll see. So who benefits from the keto diet the most? Diabetics, morbidly obese people, people that have 20 or more pounds to lose, chronic dieters, which most people are, let's face it, okay? Because what happens is when you are a chronic dieter, every time you diet, you are slowing down your metabolic rate. Believe it or not, but it's true. You are screwing yourself. Every time you are reducing your calories and going through all that hullabaloo, okay? It's not healthy. It is harmful, okay? People that have neurodegenerative conditions, believe it or not. People that have like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, that sort of thing. And also cancer patients. Now that, to me, was so fascinating. I swear to God, I wish I could go back in time and become a doctor because I love this stuff. Like, this is just so fascinating to me. But when I learned about why it's beneficial for cancer patients, I was like, this is brilliant. And why are doctors not telling these patients to go on keto? If they do, yay! If they're not, which I'm probably guessing most of them aren't, then shame on them. Who it will not work for are people who are reluctant to monitor, okay? Meaning people that want like this quick, instant, oh yeah, the magic pill people, which is 99.999% of the world, and it's my job to try to shift your thinking away from that, okay? If you don't have a whole lot of money, okay, it's not going to be a good thing for you the path to go down. And you don't want to be the metabolic detective, okay? So I teach you how to be a metabolic detective. That is my job as a coach. And if you are not somebody that is willing to kind of do some investigating and trial and error and that kind of stuff, then this kind of diet is going to work for you, and I won't work for you as a coach either. Okay? Okay, now that we got all that out of the way, I'm just going to follow my notes, and I know that this is going to help you get some clarity on all this stuff. So, let's talk about fuel, okay? You know I talk about the fuel all the time in my program. You know, I identify you either as a sugar, muscle, or a mixed burner, okay? Because all of us, according to our lifestyle and how we're eating, okay, have trained our bodies, in other words, to burn a specific fuel mostly, okay? So that's why, you know, we talk about the fuel. But when it comes to fuel and the keto diet, for example, think about this. The brain can't burn fuel, okay? Meaning fat, I'm sorry. The brain can't burn fat. Sorry, did I tell you guys I was really tired? I'm still tired from being I was all out of whack last week. Anyway, I'm still kind of tired, you guys. It's the third trimester of pregnancy brain too. So the brain can't burn fat, okay? But the brain, it can only burn glucose and ketones. Now, glucose is like carbohydrates, okay? You have to, okay? Here's the thing. You have to have like a minimal amount of carbs in this diet. It's not like a completely carb-free. It's not all fat. There is some protein involved, that kind of thing. You have to have some carbs in your life, okay? So ketones are not fat, and fat is not ketones. So get that clear, because I think there's some confusion there. Now, I've got this whole little diagram that, by rights, I probably should have created a little chart for you guys, but then again, you may shut down and overload and say, I cannot watch her. This is too scientific for me. So I'm just going to try and break this down a little bit. So think of fuel, okay? Glucose, protein, fat. Just think of those three things. Okay, now, glucose. You can either you eat it, right? Or if you overeat, your body has the ability to store about 2,000 calories worth of glycogen storages. So if you have ever worked with a trainer, or maybe you've worked with me, and somebody might say, well, should I do weights before or after, right, you know, and I might have said to you, do your weights first, and you can get into your glycogen storages, okay? That is your stored glucose in your muscle, okay? Does that make sense? So your body can only hold about 2,000 calories worth of glycogen storages in the muscle. Now, your protein. Remember this, keto dieters. Your protein, you cannot have too much of it, okay? Because the body will turn it either into glucose, okay? Maybe into ketones. But the protein, if you have too much of it, the glucose is going to throw everything off, all right? Now, the fat helps to make the ketones if needed. So this is really scientific, okay? But I had to tell you all that. The only way the body can produce ketones is if glucose is not available. Do you hear me? No glucose in the body. So what does that mean? Remember I told you about that 2,000 calorie storage? Okay? How long will it take to get rid of that? This is where the shit storms begin. Okay? It's not a fun time. Trust me. Okay? It's not fun. So, depending on the person, and this is where most people do this wrong, depending on the person, to get into that ketosis state, you have to have like maybe 50, you have to be eating maybe 50 grams or less of carbohydrates a day. Now, where people get this wrong is because they're monitoring it wrong. Okay, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. Okay, so here's the deal. Once your body is below that, then it'll start to make the ketones. But the shitstorm starts because it usually takes maybe 3 days to get that storage in your, your glycogen storage is gone. So the problem is, after that, that is when people are like in that almost keto zone. And when you're in the almost keto zone, it's not a fun place to be in, okay? Because you're dragging ass, it's just kind of like that. Basically, it's the shit, it's the, what is that called? I can't think of that saying, but you won't feel good. You will not feel good, period, end of story. So let me get back to my notes. All right, so How long does it take to go through your 2,000 calories of stored glucose after you stopped eating it? Usually 1 to 3 days. The problem is, after that, if you gain or are eating too much protein or breaking too much of that down in your body, you can still make enough glucose to keep you out of ketosis. So this is why the protein levels, it could be an issue, okay? So this is a very, very, very low carb diet. Now here's the thing. In my world, there's something called EL. Is it EL? Eat less, exercise less. Then there's EM, which is eat more, exercise more. Okay, you cycle these two. Okay, if you're eating less, you exercise less. If you're eating more, you exercise more. Okay, now that seems totally opposite, right? What you've been hearing for years. Wait a minute. No, Kelly, you're taking away my certainty. I thought that I had to eat less and exercise more. No, people, that's completely wrong. Here's the thing. Think about our ancestors and think about it in like seasons. Okay, in the summertime, they ate less and they exercised less. Or no, that's winter. You guys, this is hilarious. I'm gonna look back at this after I had my baby and go, holy moly, Kelly. That live, you were so prego brain. It was crazy. I have to tell you, this third trimester is really messing with my brain. Okay, so wintertime, they ate less, they exercised less. Summertime, they ate more, they exercised more, okay? And this is how you should be cycling your ketone diet, your ketosis diet. This is not something that you should be on for every single day of your life. I'm sorry to inform you that. It's not good. You should be on it for maybe 4 to 12 weeks max. Then you need to cycle in and understand and find out where your carbohydrate tipping point is. And what I mean by that, if you've read any of my things in this group, that you need to find a level of carbohydrates that is going to keep your brain functioning, your fat burning, but not tipping you over into a hormonal shitstorm where you're going to have horrible energy, gain fat, and all that stuff. Does that make sense? So let's get back to the science class. Okay, so hopefully I have not lost you yet, but you probably want to stay tuned to see what else I want to screw up. Okay, so part of the problem is most people will take anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks to get into the keto adaptation. Okay, so during this time, like I said, life really sucks. It really sucks. So remember when I talked to you about there's the portion of, there's the state where most of us are, where we are burning off of glucose all the time because the whole world eats garbage most of the time. Sorry, but it's the truth. So then there is this state, which is it's almost keto zone, AKZ. This is that zone that is kind of like that rough area. And that's why most people don't succeed at it, because they're not doing it right, and they're not giving it a long enough time. They might be eating too much protein, maybe not low enough in their carb, that sort of thing. And they're like, screw this, I give up. Okay? But if they can figure that out, which if you have somebody that knows what they're doing, can help you through this, then the magic will happen, because there are a lot of benefits to this diet. Okay? So once you get into that keto zone, let me get into my notes here and I can tell you. But let me back up. When you're in that almost keto zone, you're going to have low energy, headaches, all that. You're going to feel like you're dying. Okay? It just is what it is. So when you get into the keto zone, the only way to know is to measure. Now this, my friends, is where people make the mistake. I'm here to tell you that if you're peeing on a stick, it's not giving you the accurate answer that you need. Okay? You need to actually get it from your blood. So there's 3 different types of ketones. Okay, there's ACAC, BHB, and then there's acetone. So here's the deal. The BHB is the one that you want to measure, and that is done through blood. And this is where it can get kind of expensive because you need to have this specific device or these extra strips that are like $1 or $2 each to measure this, okay? So most people that you know are probably peeing on this little strip, and it's measuring the ACAC. You can't measure BHB through your urine. ACAC is measured through your urine, BHB is measured through your blood, and the acetone is measured through your breath. So the two most accurate actually are the breath and the blood. So let me dabble here a little bit in my notes. Yeah, here's the deal. Now, this is where you can find some accuracy, my friends, if you are using those strips. If you are just starting on this ketone diet and you're using that pee strip, if you, let's say, that will spike after about 3 days, all right? And if you find that you are in ketosis at that point, then that is probably the only time you're ever going to get any accuracy out of that urine read, okay? So if you find that you are in ketosis after that 3 days, then don't change anything you're eating. Keep eating what you're eating, and then chances are you will remain in that ketosis state. Does that make sense? So the urine strips, like I said, it's not going to give you the most accurate of reading. You need the blood. Okay, you got to get that blood testing to know. But if you are just starting out on that diet, go into to see how you are in that first 3 days. If you get to ketosis within that first 3 days, just know, okay, that I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and keep eating what I'm eating, and then I'll probably stay in this state. Otherwise, you're going to have to up level and go into that blood test. Okay, does that make sense? I hope it does, because like I said, I know this can get real scientific. All right. So that is why 99% of the people that are doing this are doing it wrong, because they're measuring it wrong. They don't have the proper resources. They don't understand it completely. They're just doing this because Sally Sue is doing it, and they don't understand it completely, okay? And they don't know that they should be cycling this. It needs to be cycled, okay? Otherwise, it's not going to be good. Okay, so why would somebody want to be in the ketosis in the first place, okay? Now, this is the cool thing, is that ketosis, it shuts down that reward center in your brain. And what I mean by that is everybody's always looking for that reward. There's always that crave and that hunger, okay? So it seems to shut that down. It reduces the hunger, just like I said. So you're not going to have hunger. You're not going to have any cravings. And because there's something about it that makes those areas decrease, which is amazing. In addition, most of the time when you go on a reduced calorie diet, you are going to sacrifice muscle tone, but for whatever reason, when you're in ketosis, you don't lose muscle. Okay, but like I said, you have to be careful because you don't want to be exercising like a crazy person either. You know what I mean? Okay, and the obvious, which is what everybody is drawn to, is that it increases fat loss. So there are many, many benefits to this, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to be in some danger zones, okay? Okay. So let me go back to my notes here, and I'm sorry if I sound like I'm reading, but anyway, like I said, this is a lot. This is a lot of information. So going into ketosis can be very beneficial with regard to not going back to what most of the world, let's see what I write here, world is doing, which is primarily running off of glucose, right? Remember I was talking about the fuels? Most of the world runs off of glucose because they're always putting garbage in their mouth, lots of starches. People eat way too damn much, okay? It just is what it is. And including myself right now as a pregnant lady. All right, but you don't want to stay in ketosis forever, like I had said. It really needs to be cycled. For 4 weeks to 3 months. So, you know what I'm saying? So 4 to 12 weeks at a time, okay? So that's when you would want to go into your like metabolic winter, like I explained, which would be kind of like I said, think about your ancestors. They were eating less, they were exercising less, right? Okay. So you got to be cycling these. Okay, so what does it look like? Meaning that it's less than 50 grams of carbs, okay? And it could be less for some people. It could be less. You know, you just don't know. You got to figure it out. That's why you have to be that detective, and you got to give it time. And you won't know, here comes that BHB again. You won't know how low you need to go with your carbs unless you're measuring your BHB. And the only way to measure that BHB is through your blood, okay? So, like I said, some people may need less than 30. That's kind of crazy, okay? But, hey, it is what it is. You do not want any high protein in this, okay? Because the body will make the glucose from that, remember that. It's a moderate protein. Once again, you have to be the detective and figure out what moderate protein means to you. What's moderate to me might be high to you. What's high to you might be low. You know what I'm saying? So you can't call Sally Sue and say, hey, how many grams of protein are you eating? Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try that too. It doesn't work that way. You have to be an investigative detective when it comes to your diet, you guys. It takes work and it takes time and patience. Okay? Now, how do you know? But here's a simple math thing for you. How do you know? Like, where's a starting place for my protein intake? Well, you need to do a little bit of math. You need to figure out what your lean body mass is. Okay? How do you do that? Well, there's several ways you get your body fat taken, but I'm going to tell you they're not always accurate. The most, probably easiest way, you could probably walk into LA Fitness and say, hey, can I use your bioimpedance, you know, body fat machine? Okay, all that does is that really is about how much water is in your body and blah, blah, blah. There's a margin of error, about 3 to 5%, so it's not super accurate, but let's just say you did that and you read at 25% body fat. Let's just say you weigh 100 pounds. Let's keep the math easy. Well, then that means 75% of you is lean, body, muscle, organs, blood, bone, blah, blah, blah. So then you would eat 75 grams of protein. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so I'm just telling you, but the most accurate way to measure your body fat is through hydrostatic weighing, okay? It's not like I can just go around the corner and say, hey, hydrostatic weighing station, can I come in and, you know, get my body fat done? It doesn't work like that, you know, like I think some colleges or university has availability to that, but I mean, it's something that you have to like get your doctor involved and all that kind of stuff, unless you know somebody. If you know somebody, let me know. The rest of the foods needs to come from very high fat foods, okay? Now, if you're somebody that doesn't like high fat foods, this is not for you. Let me get some water here. But when in doubt, eat fat. However, remember I always tell you calories matter. They matter. All right, so calories matter with this diet, okay? Absolutely 1,050%. So here's like an example what a diet might look like. And this could be iffy, you know what I'm saying, of what an example day, okay? And you might find this surprising because it doesn't sound too terrible, all right? Some people really eat a lot more fat, you know, than this, and what I'm going to describe. Breakfast. It could just be like a bulletproof coffee. I love bulletproof coffee, to be honest with you. Now, bulletproof coffee is just like this, some guy just decided to call it bulletproof coffee, and all it is just coffee with fat. That's it. Okay, so it's a coffee with butter, heavy cream, coconut oil. Super yummo, okay? Lunch could be like scrambled eggs with some cheese, bacon, avocado. See all the fat in there? But the scrambled eggs, you see, that's protein. Okay, you got to be kind of careful. Okay, so depends on what you're going to eat next. Your snack could be, let's say, like some heavy whipping cream with some cacao powder mixed in there with some stevia. Now, if you work with me, you know that cacao powder will reduce your cravings as well. But here's the thing, when it comes to being in ketosis, that reduces it. So whatever, but that could be like a yummy, like sweet snack. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to affect you crazy hormonally, but it's going to give you maybe that little bit of a sweet thing. Dinner, salmon, salad, some vegetables, something like that. You know what I mean? But you might be tipping over. You got to be careful. You got to be careful how many eggs, how much salmon. Got to go according, excuse me, mama indigestion. You got to go according to your lean body mass, remember? So you got to do the math. Okay, so what are my notes here? BHB levels. What is this? Fat turns. Okay, I don't know what that says because my handwriting is getting crazy. All right, so like I said before, ketones shut down hunger. It also decreases the body's ability to basically eat away at muscle, which is a freaking amazing thing, okay? And here's the other thing I want to tell you guys, okay? I'm not a doctor, okay? I'm just relaying some good information. I have something itchy on my wrist. It's really weird. It's almost like a hive or something. Okay, let me try to explain this. I'm not, like I said, I'm just going to explain this extremely layman's terms. Remember when I talked about cancer and why this would be good for somebody that has cancer? Because ketones has the ability to stabilize DNA. And what that means is let's say this is DNA. Then you've got this ability with the membrane and the ketones that actually kind of like twists around it. So what happens is let's say there is a cancer cell in here. What it does is it traps it. So the cancer can't spread. Hello, isn't that amazing? Amazing, right? I was like, my jaw was on the floor when I learned this, and I'm like, that is the coolest thing in the world. It's a very sciencey, but in other words, it's trapping it. Okay, it's so cool. So I don't know that I would necessarily go run home and say, hey mom, Kelly said that if you have this ketosis diet that your cancer is good. Yeah, don't do that. Just maybe tell your loved one that you kind of heard this and maybe to check with their doctor. This is all informational, all right? So just an FYI on that. I thought that was very, very cool. Very surprising, I must say. You want to know why? Because, and we're going to talk about this in just a second. We're going to talk about ketoacidosis. And this is the thing where I was like, wait a minute, if you're eating high fat, it's kind of an acidic environment. That's very interesting. But, you know, it's the ketones that are doing this to the DNA. So this is where you're going to have to kind of think for a second and kind of put other things aside and say, okay, yeah, this totally makes sense, right? So, you know, in my mind, I'm always thinking, okay, yeah, if I ever got cancer, I would totally make sure that I had a more alkaline environment in my body, da-da-da. Well, now it's kind of like, okay, if I ever got cancer, then I would definitely want to talk to my doctor about, okay, how can I maintain an alkaline environment, but also, you know, produce this ketosis diet at the same time? You know, is there a way to do that? You know what I mean? So that's where, like, there's sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I could have been a doctor. Okay, so here's the other thing. And you don't ever hear about this. At least I never have. But it, like I said, it will stabilize the DNA. It also will stabilize cell membranes. And cell membranes, I may have talked to you about this before, maybe not this. We all have cellular membranes. And you want your membranes to be as fluid-like as possible. So visualize a pool. So like right now in my pool, I have got things floating in it, like a couple of rafts and this and that. So those rafts, okay, need to be able to move freely, okay? That's what you want your cell membrane to be like. You want it to be very fluid-like and watery, and just let those receptors, like the rafts, move around in that pool accordingly so that it can speak to the hormones. Okay, so it is extremely important that we keep our cell membranes extremely fluid-like. If you are consuming too many fats, let's say like bad fats, like, what's the name of the bad fats? Like, I can't think of the name. You know, okay, good fats would be like krill oil, fish oil, you know, that sort of stuff. But if you're somebody that's consuming Cheetos and that has that what is that called? I can't think of the name, but you know what I'm talking about? Think of Crisco. Now, if my pool was filled with Crisco, what would happen? Those rafts would not move. There would be difficulties with the membrane and those receptors, which need to move around and communicate with the hormones properly, right? So what the ketones do is it helps to stabilize. Yes, hydrogenated. Thank you, Allison. It helps, to stabilize those membranes as well, which is absolutely fascinating, okay? In addition, yes, thank you, Lauren. In addition, ketosis helps to change your gut bacteria, okay? Here's the deal. There's lots of benefits, but you have to make sure you're doing it right, okay? This is why it is important to have somebody that knows what the H they're doing, okay? You have to know that you are doing it right. So, like, for example, with my coaching program, the Metabolism Reboot Academy, each person has their own individualized protocol that I give them. The ketosis diet might be one of them, okay? Menopausal might be for another one. So it just, everybody is so specific. And this is why, if you are having problems with weight loss, if you're insulin resistant, if you are diabetic, and you're not getting anywhere, if you are somebody that's like, I've been trying for 5 years to lose weight, well, there is a reason why, because what worked for you once is not going to work for you anymore. And this is why there are different protocols, for example, that I have set in place that I can help you with, okay? That I can say, okay, well, yeah, let's not do that, and this is why, so we need to do this, okay? So sometimes it's okay to ask for help, all right? Even I've hired coaches. I mean, I love having a coach. Love. It's like a mandatory thing for me, Just like I've always hired personal trainers. I'm a personal trainer, but personal trainers need personal trainers too, because when you are at either a point in life where you want to get better or be better, or you just always want to continue to get better, then you will always need to have help, okay? You will always need to have help. And Jesus Christ, don't be afraid to invest in yourself, for fuck's sake. I cannot say that enough. It drives me crazy when people say, oh yeah, I don't have the money, but then they go out to eat every day of the week. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just putting it out there. Not because I have this program and all this stuff, but I'm just telling you, it's okay. It is okay. All right, now, let me just recap once again where the troubles come in. People are measuring incorrectly because they're measuring through their urine. It needs to be through their blood. The only time you could measure through your urine is if you are doing it within the first 3 days, because that's when that reading will really spike, and that is when you will really know if you are in ketosis or not. Otherwise, it's really not going to work, so you've got to do the blood. Another trouble area is if you're not going low carb enough, and the only way you'll know that is if you're measuring through your blood. This is not a high protein diet. Remember, you need to know how much your lean body mass is in order to know where to start for your protein, okay? And the other thing is, maybe you're not eating enough fat. Okay, what did I put here? Oh, okay. Let's talk about the danger zone of the other thing I wanted to tell you guys. Okay. So let's say, for example, when a diabetic loses the ability to burn through sugar fuel, okay? Their blood sugar rises. What happens is they start to create more ketones as well. Now, this can get kind of a little bit sciencey. We might just have to skip this because it's like, okay. But here's the thing. This, my friends, if you have issues with your blood sugar, and if you have, here's my line. If you are diabetic and you have high blood sugar and high ketones, danger, Will Robbins, right? Will Robinson, whatever. That is a danger zone. And that, my friends, is where, remember I talked about the acidic state? That is what's called ketoacidosis. And you don't want to be there. So you want to make sure that you are not somebody that has this high blood sugar and high ketones at the same time. Danger, danger, okay? Because ketosis is low blood sugar, okay? And then that it's like less than 100, I don't know if it's milligrams, yeah, less than 100 milligrams, I believe, okay? All right, so here's the bottom line. We are about to wrap this up. Bottom line is, eat less, exercise less with this. Only go on it 4 to 12 weeks, okay? Cycle it. Most people get stuck in the almost keto zone, so they give up. And the only reason why they are stuck in that zone is because they're not measuring properly. And we talked about that. And I'll say it again. You need to measure it through your blood. That's the best way. Okay? Let's see here. What else did I put here? Hunger, reward center. The ketosis, well, it reduces hunger. It shuts down that reward center in your brain, which is that craving that we're always looking for. It stabilizes the DNA, hence where I talk about the cancer patients, and it increases fat loss. So there's many, many benefits from it. Many, 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 many. Now here's the last thing I want to talk about. There is a way, and you may have heard of this, and I'm going to tell you there's more marketing behind this than there is science. So be very, very careful, because you may have heard, oh, I know what she's talking about. I can manually take BHB through a supplement. It's not proven yet, okay? So basically, what you might hear is that, oh, you could just supplement and you can, just take this supplement that'll increase the BHB, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then that's going to raise the ketones. But like I said, it is not, it is not scientifically proven yet. There's more marketing behind it. But the only way that would also work too is if your sugar levels were low enough and all this stuff. And once again, this is why you would need to really work with somebody that is, knows what the hell you're doing. But where that could maybe help somebody is, let's say somebody keeps getting stuck in the AKZ. They keep getting stuck in the almost keto zone, then that BHB might be able to help. But once again, to me, you got to be careful with stuff like that, especially when it comes to supplements. Okay, supplements, you got to know that there's a lot of science behind it. Just like for me, like branched chain amino acids, I think are amazing, and there's many reasons why. And there's a lot of scientific studies and proof behind my reasoning for that. Now that BHB supplement, I can't say, oh yeah, absolutely, I think it's amazing, blah blah blah. So I hope that helped give you some Sorry, my alarm keeps going off because I have a group call with my girls at 8 o'clock. But I hope that it gave you some insight. I hope that helps you understand a little bit. I hope that it gives you a little bit of caution when and if you do decide that you would like to hop on board with the ketosis movement, because there's a lot of people doing it. I've seen a lot of people get success from it, but I don't know that they necessarily know how to come back out of it. That's the trouble. Do they know how to back up the truck and get out of that for a little while to introduce the right amount of carbs and the right kind of carbs back into their diet? That would be my only concern. All that said, just a quick reminder, I have my second launch of my Metabolism Reboot Academy launching on the 1st. There is still the ability to win a scholarship. All you have to do, my friends, is just a couple-minute video. It's not that big of a deal to apply for it. Goes right in this group. Okay? Early bird rate will end also on the 23rd. I'm also telling people, just sign up for it, apply for the scholarship at the same time, and then, perhaps you'll win. If you do, then I'll give you your money back. It's easy breezy. So, if you are struggling, if you're looking for massive body change, you need to be a part of this because it's awesome. My girls are having such success, and we're 3 weeks in. We have 2 more weeks to go. It's been amazing and so much fun. If you have any questions, you can also comment below, private message me. But if you would like to be considered for this next round, just go to the metabolismrebootacademy.com and click on where it says join the wait list. And then I will be in contact with you and discuss if this is the right program and right fit for you. When you click that join the wait list, there is about 20 questions that I ask you to really find out if the program is right for you. And Yeah. So, all right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed that. And I will get back to your questions later, I promise. But I have to peace out now because I have to get to my coaching call with my girls. All right, thank you again, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.